Hi everybody, how are you doing? I hope you're doing well. And today we are talking an important subject is the sustainability on the industry. I believe that the outdoor industry is doing great efforts on being more sustainable and doing a good transition, but it's still a lot of challenges ahead. So today we are talking with Marcel, who has been working on the industry and he has very good insights on the sustainability. So hi Marcel, how are you doing?
Hey Kilian, I'm good. Thank you very much for having me.
No, it's a pleasure. So, can you tell us a bit about your background and why do you think it's still a lot of challenges and how we can face them in terms of sustainability in the sports industry?
Yeah, so a little bit about my background. I'm a runner by heart, obviously. That's for sure. But in my professional life, I'm actually or used to be a product manager for quite some time and a product developer for a big player in the sports industry. I recently changed jobs, but I think my main professional skill, still is the product creation. So I have a few, if not very many, years of experience in that. So I have some insights in the industry, and I really care about the industry and also its impact on the environment. So I'm really trying to educate myself as much as possible. And if we take a look at how much we still produce and how much we still waste and what kind of materials things are still made of, then I think it becomes pretty clear that there's still lots of us for do, even when keeping in mind that the auto industry actually is the industry that's probably pushing boundaries farthest when it comes to sustainable product creation and also the sustainable usage of basically every kind of resource that there is.
That's great. And for what I understood, it's two big challenges here. One is about the materials, which materials we are using, and the other one is about the the business model, about the how much we produce, how much do we buy, and how much it ends in the landfill. So let's just start talking about materials. Of course, when we are talking about outdoor equipment, we are thinking, or we need some equipments that they are performant, so they might not be the more sustainable. So can you tell us about some of the different materials that they has been evolving and that we can find more better solutions today than some years ago?
Yeah, I mean the topic of materials, it's a huge topic and we could talk hours about it really. But I mean, if we leave out the hardware and focus on footwear and apparel for now, it's all based on textiles, right? And a majority of these textiles are are plastics really. Even if they feel nice and soft, it's pure plastic. And even if these materials can be recycled or are recycled, it doesn't take the problem away that there's so much plastics, um, you know, in the environment. And even if we try to use it and sustainably and at the end of its lifetime try to, you know, um, basically dispose it in the most sustainable way, it's still ending up somewhere where it's really not supposed to be. And there's so much plastic, and more and more plastic is getting into the oceans at the very end. I think in the year 2050, if we continue using plastics the way we are currently using it, there will be more plastics than fish in the ocean, and this is such an alarming figure, right? So I'm really happy and proud of the auto industry that there's many things happening about recycled materials and recycling materials, but there needs to be more done. And some great things is, for example, the biodegradable materials. It sounds pretty great, right? You know, but it's not as great as it might sound. So it's not like you can take your sweater and just dump it somewhere outside, and in 2 years or in a year or something, it will be gone. So this is something that's how it sounds sometimes, but it's not that easy. So for the materials to biodegrade, there needs to be most of the time very specific circumstances, the right temperature, the right humidity, the right microorganisms around, and these microorganisms then in the right environment can degrade the material or the sweater or the piece of apparel. But it seems like it will actually only biodegrade to microplastics, which is then easier for animals to absorb these plastics into their bodies. And so the problem continues, which is why the industry has pushed further, and we also have some compostable products that's a little bit easier to degrade. But it seems like the problems are still there. The residual plastics is still too big, and so I think compostable is a great step ahead, but it's not the solution to the problem. And so there's circularity, maybe the last thing that we can talk about this when it comes to materials. Circularity means that you take a piece, like it's dough. You basically form your piece of apparel or your piece of footwear from this dough, and at the end of the textile's life cycle, you basically grind it back to this kind of dough, and then you can use this dough to create a new textile, and with the new textile, a new product. And this is a step further, because it will, at the maximum, like keep the existing amount of plastics the same. So we will not add, and we will not also probably not reduce much, but also we will not add any further, and we will make sure that instead of the pieces of apparel that we wear and the pieces of footwear we wear, they will not end up in the oceans or somewhere in the forests, but they will be used to be reused, which means that at least in the environment, the amount of plastics should be reduced quite a lot.
That's great. And actually, as an athlete or as a runner or other people that wants to buy a product, what should we ask to the designers to use? Like, what should be our message to the designers to tell, I want you to do this product with these kind of circularity materials. So what are these kind of materials that we should be asking them to do? Or it's not only the material, but it's also all what's around the material, the way to dispose and the way to produce.
Yeah, so the problem that we currently face with circularity is that a product itself is only circular ready if the whole product is made from a single material. So lots of materials are polyester and some others are TPU, a slightly different piece or kind of plastic, and you would need to basically separate these kind of different materials in order for then bring the piece of apparel or piece of footwear back into the loop. And so circular products right now need to be made from a single material, and this is a big ask for the designers and product engineers out there, because usually, a product is made out of, especially when we talk, it's a little bit easier with apparel because it's basically just one material, and then you still have the trims and the buttons and the zippers and so on. So this is a problem. But when you talk about shoes with the midsole, with the outsole, it's even harder for designers to create this monomaterial pieces of equipment. And right now, it's, like I said, it's needed to basically take the product and then grind it into pellets that you can then melt and extrude in order to make new pieces. So having great materials and a whole product that is basically circular ready, I think what we should ask every product designer and product engineer out there is to make the products long lasting as possible, because the most sustainable product basically is the product that you don't even buy, or if you buy it, use for a very, very long time, so that whatever you do with it, if you put it back in the circle, if you cannot put it back in the circle and you dispose it, so that this time before the product is at the end of its life cycle is used as long as possible.
That's good. Yeah, that's a easy thing to do actually, to use it for long, and probably to repair it, so to make the life longer. And when it comes to use one simple or one single material for each piece, probably also kind of modular equipment where it's easy to separate the different pieces to recycle can be interesting. But yeah, it's a lot to do on in this direction. But I think as athletes, it's something that we should ask the brands we work for, and when as a consumer, when you go to buy, it's something interesting to check that the piece of equipment that you are buying, it's not made with a lot of different materials. And in terms of performance, it's a big difference between the performance of a new material or something that is coming from recycling.
No, so basically, and this is a good thing. And as I said, I'm really proud of the outdoor industry. Most suppliers actually are now able to basically make materials of 100% the same quality, especially when we talk about polyester. So the materials look and feel like they are made from virgin plastics, but they're actually recycled. So this is a step that we already very successfully implemented, and that's great, and we should be proud of ourselves, but we should not stop here, and we definitely need to take further steps in order to make this whole problem, let's say, go away. That's the end goal, right?
Yeah, good. And as you mentioned, like circularity, it's one of the best solutions that we have right now for ensuring that is not a lot of pollution going to the landfill. But circularity, it also comes is not only an effort from the designer, but it's also from the whole brands on like imagining how to make this circularity possible. And that comes also responsibility to the consumer on how to disposal. And I think they are some good solutions that they start to be out there, but it needs to have it needs to be a change of system probably too.
Yes, I mean, imagine the amount of complexity added by this circular economy. So it's not the product that can only be consistent out of one product material. Sorry, but basically you need the whole logistics chain. You need to have that backwards. So right now businesses are designed to create product and ship it to the consumer, and that's basically the end, right, for the brands and their responsibilities. And with this circular approach, what we still need to figure out is, after the product's life cycle, how do we bring it back to a material supplier that can regrind the material and then melt it and extrude a new piece of thread or material in the very end. And this is a piece, we kind of know how to have half the circle, and now it's actually the harder half of the circle, and it's not for product engineers and designers to figure that out, but basically by logistics experts, how to close the circle 360 degrees. And this will also then require us as consumers and athletes to be more responsible. So it will be us to somehow bring our products at the end of its life cycle to some kind of collection point, to a retail store, or basically by post delivery, send the product back to where it can be used to go back into the circle again.
Yeah, that's something that it's every actor of the production and of the logistics and of the use of the product that should be working together to make the circularity possible. And something very easy, like for an athlete or for a consumer to see if the piece of gear that he's going to get or he's going to buy it's sustainable? Can we have some information today when we go to a shop and we get let's say a jacket, if it's made with sustainable materials, it's some kind of tags or it's some kind of labels that we should be looking as a consumer?
So there's a few labels out there from foundations that you can see. So for example, when it comes to down, there's the sustainable down standard and so on. And but when it comes to recycled plastics, it's or circularity or so on and so on, there's not really a standardized hang tag or something like this. However, brands are pretty proud of their sustainable efforts. So in some way, if we dig, and we are all product and material nerds anyway, so when we read the product description on the brand's websites or in magazines and social media and wherever you get your information from, you will actually find what kind of sustainability concept is basically used as the base for this product. You will find so many sustainability concepts that brands are using right now. So we have to be a little bit careful to really understand if it's, you know, a nice story to tell or if it's really sustainable, and it almost requires a full expert of either product creation or logistics to really understand the upsides and downsides of different sustainability aspects that brands claim to use. So it's a really complex topic, and unfortunately it will continue to be complex for quite some more time, I guess.
Yes, so that's summarizing. I think it's when we talk to products, we can see that some materials, of course, it's better if they come from recycled sources, and not they are not source materials, and then like to ensure that the company that is doing these equipments, that they have a circularity program, so we can give back this piece of equipment so it's recycled and it's remade to a new product. I think that's something that we should look, and we should ask the companies we work with, and also when we are buying something, to probably just like to ask the person in the shop if they know what's behind, if it's what's behind this product, and what are the options on recycling, and what are the options on the different methods to make the circularity possible. I think that's easy when we go shopping, to ask not only about the technical qualities of the product, but also the sustainability that is behind each of the products we are going to buy.
Absolutely, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so just to finish, what will be your like top advice for an athlete like me that don't know much about sustainability on products and industry? To what should be the thing I focus, or that I should push the brands I'm working with, so they can work on this specific topic?
Yeah, I mean, in the end, unfortunately, brands are still in need to grow, to sell stuff. So make sure that you are informed about the products that you buy, and only buy the products where you are sure that the brand did everything the brand can to make the impact of your product that you want to buy as least harming as possible. We all have this obligation to be informed, to educate ourselves what we buy and what kind of impact this has. And I think this obligation is something that we have to invest time in and effort.
So thank you very much, Marcel, and thank you everybody for being listening to this talk. And I'm sure that from there we can all go to different pages to find more information, discover if the gear that we have in in the cave it's sustainable, and how we can make this gear to last longer. And yeah, thank you for being here, and see you in the next video.
Thank you very much for having me, guys.